up, my fellow Homo sapiens? It's your boy, the legendary Hadou, and I'm coming at you with that Berserker 2016 anime review. Blood and guts. This and more coming at you next. Berserker 2016 Season 1 has roughly around 12 episodes. It was licensed by the one and only FUNimation, and it was animated by Mitapaze and Gampa. The scenario of this anime goes a little something like this. Guts, who have been branded by the God Hand and destined to be hunted by demons who will rip at his flesh and cause him torment as a living hell. Guts is plunged into a journey to destroy God Hand, save Casca, and change his fate. Guts vows to destroy the God Hand by using the Dragon Slayer to rip apart their forces and to destroy the man he once considered his equal and his best friend. As Guts is on his adventure, he will meet new allies that one day he will consider his friends. As Guts and his newly formed group continue on through their adventures, they will encounter life-threatening enemies in battles. Now, what I want to do here is focus on some of the positives and negatives, some of the pros and cons. Now, before we start, I want to let everyone know there's going to be some serious heavy spoilers here, so if you haven't watched the anime, please stop watching the review, watch the anime, and come back. So the first thing first, we're going to focus on some of the positives. So I feel like the first positive I want to focus on is how they flushed out some of the characters and gave them depth and really just gave them some meaning. And the first character I want to talk about is our boy Guts, because I really like how they did him in this anime. I mean, he was really actually going out there saving Casca. You can feel his pain, you can feel his wants, you can feel his worries. You can see that he was someone that truly cared. And I really like that because they really kind of flushed that character out and bringing that character to life. But not just that, I really like how they did with Nina. And I say Nina is that MHP, the most hated person in this anime, hands down, because I felt like they did, and that's a good thing. I really felt like they did a great job with her because she was just such a horrible character. She was just a character that you hated so much. You wanted her to die. You just, oh my goodness, even if you could get into the anime, you would just strangle her yourself. I mean, she turned on her friends. She was a huge scaredy cat. And even at the points where you think that she's getting ready to redeem herself, she's getting ready to take responsibility, she kept screwing over everyone. Even when she's at a safe area, she would literally run away from people and get herself in danger. She was like just that one character. It's like, how is she still alive? She had the luck of the Irish, the luck of the leprechaun, because she just would not die. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, she is so horrible. Even when they took her to the torture chamber, she gave out all the information before they could take even one nail. One nail. Like, the dudes took, after that, they took one nail and it was like, we just can't do anything else to her. Like, she's just so horrible as an individual. Like, let's take her upstairs to be executed later on. Like, she was just that much of a hated character. Now, another thing I liked about this series, another positive, was it did a lot to clear up some things that I was confused about in the manga. I read the manga a few years ago, so it's been a while, but I remember that I was a little lost. I was like, how did Griffiths come into this world? Did he come from the fetus? Where did this egg creature come from? But in the anime, they really cleared things up, and I really like that. I understood where this egg creature came from. I understood with the God Hand passing down that wish, and with the egg was bringing new life to this world that will destroy this world. You know, I understood all that after watching this anime, and I was really, really happy about that. And finally, I want to talk about how it brought this manga to life and just pulled you into the story. Because reading the manga was just incredible, hands down. Like, you can't get better than reading the manga. But this anime here really brought that manga to life. Watching it, listening to it in its surround sound, you was really just pulled into the story. As Guts is battling, you're kind of like one of the refugees, or you're kind of like just trooping with Guts himself. You see the corpses in the body. Maybe sometimes you might think you're smelling something. You know, it's like, wow, you hear people screaming and hollering in the torture room, and you're like, oh my goodness, I just really don't want to go in there. It's just terrifying. It was awesome, and I love when I watch an anime and I'm just pulled deeply into it. Now, here we go. We're focusing on the negatives, and I feel like the negatives was extremely big in this anime here. And the first huge negative is going to be the animation. It's going to be the CGI. The CGI was just really, really horrible. I didn't like this art style of CGI. Now, don't get me wrong. I love CGI when it comes down to anime. But in this case here, it seemed like it was a very low budget. Now, I know it most likely took millions and millions of dollars to make Berserker 2016. And I respect that. Don't get me wrong. But the CGI, I just really didn't like it here. It was just very, very horrible. Very, very poor quality. And not just that, it seemed like some of the battle scenes seemed to be very, very slow. That's another negative there. Where when you come from an anime like the Berserker Golden Art Age, you know, when you watch these movies, now I understand these are far higher quality. The battle scenes seem to be far more faster, far more fluent. Even when you come from the original anime from the Berserker, you know, the animation there seemed to be more fluent and faster. In this movie, in this animation here, Berserker 2016, it seemed like it's much, much slower. And I understand this is not a proper term to use, but it seemed like some of the areas had some very low frame per second or missing frames. So it's like, there's one point where the blobs that's going around, the blob demon that's killing everything, and as it's going and it gets ready to drop its face down, it's instead of you see the different frames of it dropping its face down where it seems kind of fluent, it's like his face is here and then it hits the ground. I'm like, okay, did we miss a frame or something? So it could just been my self-confidence, just thinking like, this quality is just not really getting with me for some odd reason. Now, I will say this. Once you get into the anime, once you accept that this is the best quality you're going to get, it's going to get good. You know, the anime is going to pull you in. But at first, it's like, I'm not really liking the shading. I'm not really liking the CGI. But once you accept it, the anime's great. And then let's go ahead and kind of talk about the censorship. So Berserker has always been one of those animes that's very bloody, very violent, very sexual. And, you know, just a lot of stuff happened. A lot of nudities. You have penises, you have breasts, you have pube hairs, you have penis-shaped monsters. And that's something I really like about Berserker. Where in this case here, yes, you still had the blood and the slaughtering and the torture, but they censored out a lot of the nudities. Now, don't get me wrong, I don't want to see a penis sitting on camera, but at the end of the day, when you have a corpse that's just hanging there by his neck, or half his body is gone, and his penis is sitting there, it makes you feel uncomfortable. It pulls you in, you're like, man, that's a shitty situation, man. You know, like, they could have covered the dude up. You know, you just feel really awkward in the process, but it brings you into the world and says, hey, this is not supposed to be comfortable. This is supposed to be very horrible for you. And in Berserker 2016, they just didn't have that, you know. When it came down to some of the areas where it's like FUNimation, where she's bare, has her breasts out, all the women that have their breasts out in the anime, they have no nipples. Like, it's just covered over. And I'm confused, because FUNimation usually don't censor. And I looked at the Japanese version, and it was still censored. So I was really shocked and confused about that. Like, was there not a uncensored version, or they just didn't put the nipples there? Because even though it doesn't really, I guess, bring more to the story, to me personally, it brings me more into the story personally. You know, it like having those nipples there and the nudity says more guts than anything else. It says more Berserker than anything else. So I was really kind of upset behind that. Now, I did do some comparison from the manga and the anime for certain scenes. I guess I'll put some of those pictures somewhere around here, where like FUNimation is getting ready to get raped by the horse in the manga, where in the anime, the horse seemed to be kind of like just licking her, like she's going to eat her. Where in the manga, the horse had a huge penis that seemed like he was going to rape her, then eat her afterwards. Like, I think that's going to be far more worse, you know, being raped than eaten, instead of just kind of being licked and eaten in the anime. And I guess one of the final negatives was, at times it seemed like, where we had a lot of the slashing, where Guts is just slaughtering people, it seemed like they were just throwing blood at the screen, where it wasn't as detailed. You know, when you look at some of the movies, you look at the original anime, when someone get cut, you get like the little bits and pieces and the guts just splattering all over the place. You know, it's like, woo, yes! You know, where here, it's like when Guts just cut them, it's just like, it seems like they're just throwing blood all over the place. You know, and another thing I wanted to see, you know, some people might say you're a little sadistic, but, you know, another thing I wanted to see was them, you know, torturing some of the people in the torture room, just taking their time as they yell, but unfortunately, we only get to hear the sounds. I really wanted to see the people just get ripped as their flesh ripped off and people been burned. That's something I really wanted to see in this anime, but unfortunately, we didn't get it. Now, to kind of come to my conclusion, overall, the anime was great. I enjoyed it. I loved it. Once you get past the bad CGI, you're going to get pulled into this anime, and it's going to be awesome. Now, they don't have a lot of, it does seem to be censored in the process of nudity, unfortunately, and you don't really get to see a lot of people get tortured, like, really in good detail. But besides those negatives, the anime is extremely good. I really enjoyed this anime. I'm really happy. I can't wait to start reading. I can't wait to start watching season 2 because, I mean, if I had to choose, no Berserker or this seem to be low budget CGI, I'm going to choose the low budget CGI. You know, I want this anime. But overall, I was really happy. I was more happy than anything else. I mean, what took me so long to watch Berserk 2016 was because a lot of people gave it a lot of negative reviews and talked bad about the CGI. So I was like, I just watched some other anime for the time being. But the reality of it is, I should have watched this anime earlier. I'm so happy that I watched this. And right now, I'm so hyped up for season 2. Berserker 2016 was awesome. So how did you feel about Berserker 2016? Do you like it? Did you hate it? Please let me know in the comment box below. But please rate, subscribe, comment, and share. It really helps the channel. Thanks for watching. Matane.